Last week, I was on a client call trying to convince her to set a boundary with her mom, and she wouldn't. What she said back to me was, why would I waste my time setting a boundary with my mom when all she's going to give me is silence, then she's going to ghost me for 3 days, and then she's going to come back and pretend like nothing ever happened. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know that feeling. I know what that's like. And if you're nodding along like, yes, that is what my mom does, or that's what my sister does, or my mother-in-law, whoever this person is in your life, if you're like, yes, I need help with this, today I'm going to show you how to flip how you handle those tough conversations going forward. I'm going to walk you through this is something I had to create for myself, my 5-step framework in just formulating my boundaries. So I have the script that feels like me, and I would describe myself as highly sensitive. I'm going to walk you through that, and we're going to actually write a script together. So if you have a boundary, like a limit, you have to set it, but you're so scared of hurting your loved one because they do get so impacted. Like they cry, they sulk, they ghost you. Sometimes you feel like, oh, I feel like I broke them. This will help you, but I want you to keep that in mind and get even a pencil, because we're going to workshop this together and you'll be able to write it along. So by the end of this video, you will have a script that feels like even the most sensitive people can hear it and not feel attacked or like trying to push them away. And it's something that they can hear without feeling awful. So let's switch the screens, because I think it's important that we start off on the same page. For years, I thought the people in my life who were the most challenging to set boundaries with, whether they were high conflict or super sensitive, which that's what we're talking about today, is our sensitive loved ones, I thought they're just tough. Like boundaries don't work on them. But what I didn't realize, and what I wish I would have known sooner, because it would have just prevented a lot of pain, a lot of resentment, was that my loved ones were exhibiting signs of emotional immaturity. And once you know this, it's just so much easier for you to understand why they react the way they do. And so I do believe it's important to know, and I'm not trying to bash our loved ones. Like truly, I'm holding them so tender. I have so much compassion for our family members, our loved ones, anyone with emotional immaturity, because they have limitations. But I also have so much compassion because they're going through their life just like waiting for someone to make them feel not good enough. And that would just be a terrible way to live. And that's why their reactions are typically so big, whether it is like big and loud or just like really sad and like broken because they feel so hurt by you. So let's look up an article together. I already found it to save some time. And this is framed on Dr. Lindsay Gibson's work. She has wrote the book on emotional immaturity. So what I want you to do while we go through this, I want you to picture the family member who's very sensitive. So get them in mind. And then I just want you just to kind of check in. Okay, do I think they have this sign? Do they or do they not? And when you're thinking about these signs, it's not, just like a one-time thing. Like we all have had emotionally immature moments. Like I have emotionally immature moments when I'm, hangry. And I can just remember this moment. So I was really, really hungry. My butt was sore. My back was sore. We were on a road trip. Our kids were little. One was teething. And we just were on the last bit, just trying to get home, trying to push through instead of stopping again. And it was just that moment. And then one of the kids threw a stuffed animal at me, and I blew up. That is an immature moment. I didn't handle myself well. I didn't handle myself a 30, 31-year-old. I don't know how old I was at that point, but I didn't handle myself well at all. That is a moment in time. That's not my pattern though. So when we look at this list, really ask yourself, do they consistently show these signs? Because that is the big differentiator. That's because we all have moments like this, but it's really about the pattern. So difficulty managing their emotions, they may exhibit frequent mood swings. I like to think of this as their feelings rule their world. It's their reality. So if they feel like you're trying to push them away, even though your boundary is not trying to do that, they believe you are trying to push them away. And they also are just very finicky. It's almost like the breeze can hit them wrong and they will feel slighted or threatened and they will get their feelings hurt. The next one I have a story about. So lack of empathy. I worked with a client recently. She had a baby shower, and in front of everybody, her mom stood up and started talking about her body in a very joking way, but she was shaming how much weight she had gained. And so before she became my client, she came to me after this happened because she didn't know what to do. She went to her mom and she just poured out her feelings. She was crying. She was just a puddle. I mean, could you imagine? You have hormones just because you're pregnant, but also having your mom do that and humiliate you and talk about your body in front of all your friends and family. So she went to her mom, cried, told her how hurt she was. She couldn't believe that and just like wanted to let her know, like, just basically give her mom a chance to apologize. And her mom got so mad. She's like, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a grown, she swore, like grown a woman. You're almost going to be a mother. And you're like wasting my time after I just did all this for you. Like I just put on this baby or bridal shower for you. You're wasting my time talking about your little itty bitty feelings. And so she made her feel so little. It was horrible. Complete lack of empathy, right? The next one is another story. I worked with a couple. They were planning their wedding and I helped them come up with this boundary. They wanted to figure out how can we, because the groom has a mom who struggles with alcoholism, and they didn't know what rules or how they could monitor how many drinks she had, or, they just wanted to make it so they didn't have to worry about her behavior, whether or not she would even get to the reception, because they were worried she would get too drunk at the wedding and all that stuff. So they finally came up with their boundary, which was to have a dry wedding. When he went to go talk to his mom, it was complete, like, what about me? She completely forgot, okay, this day isn't about me. This is about the couple. It has nothing to do with what I want. It's all about what they want. So what about me? So persistent self-centeredness. Another example would be when, you start expanding your family, or even when you get married, you have to balance out the holidays. Like we're going to alternate whatever, or we're going to start our own traditions. Sometimes you'll go to a parent or an in-law and you'll just try to explain, this is how we're going to do things so it's fair for everybody. And you're going to get the response that kind of goes back to, what about me? So their vernacular is just pointed inwards. They're not bad people. This is how it is in their brain. So it's not like they're just selfish, mean people. This is a limitation. This is not a choice. So I really want to make sure that's clear. And I think it's important that we explain this so that we understand and we have more compassion, because otherwise it hurts us so badly. We're like, how can you be this selfish? And really, it's just the way their brain works. So I just want to make sure that's clear. The last one, inability. I really want you to pay attention to this, because if you haven't already, this will come up. If you're nodding along and you're like, yes, this is my mom, or yes, this is my mother-in-law. If you are seeing all the signs here, pay attention to this one. The inability to reflect and apologize sincerely. This is the reason our estrangement, our painful estrangement, painful for my in-laws, painful for my husband, painful for our children. It was obviously it was painful for me to watch, but I just really highlight them because I feel like they suffered the most. This is why it drug on 2 years, because we waited for the apology. We waited for acknowledgement. We waited for them to take ownership of how they hurt, like my husband. And that was an error on our part. We didn't realize that they couldn't do it. Like they could not give us what we needed. And now through the years, working with families for nearly 15 years, just up close and personal, I promise you, it is not a choice. It is not a choice. A lot of times people think they're being stubborn or arrogant, egotistical. They can't do it. They don't have the skills to give you the genuine, sincere apology that you want. Like if you think about the psychology of an apology, it is to really really hear you out, then put themselves in your shoes and really try to feel how their actions impacted you, then communicate remorse, and then promise to try to do better in the future. And the purpose of the apology is to bridge the gap that was created when the attachment was ruptured because of their actions. They don't have the skills. Really, truly imagine a 3-year-old, if you are a parent, imagine your 3-year-old breaking your great great grandma's vase and you getting down on the floor, like looking them in the eyes and saying, we're not going to move from here until you really take ownership of what you did. This was a family heirloom. Like, you need to really make sure I know that you take ownership and you give me a sincere apology for what you did here, because this was a really important artifact to me. Your toddler would not be able to do it. And like Dr. Lindsay Gibson says, they have similar skill sets to like 3 and 4-year-olds. That's what you want to think about. So I hope that's clear. And if you've ever been waiting for an apology, or if you've ever, or no, actually, I just want you to know, if it hasn't happened yet, remember this nugget, because you will waste so much time. You will deteriorate your body, rotting it from the inside out with all the cortisol and stress because you're holding on to that grudge. They are not able to give you what you need and what you deserve. So I will just say this. This is just kind of a tangent, sorry. But if you do find yourself in that situation, what do? I have episodes on this, but I just want you to know you need to heal on your own. You need to heal without the apology. And I am living proof. My clients are living proof. You can do that on your own. Okay. So I will say that. And if you want to dive deeper, we have that in, let's see, which book is it in? It's in Managing Overbearing Parents and In-Laws. It's in that book. And that will be in the show notes below. So now I want to teach you the next nugget. This is going to seem so tiny, but this tiny shift in perspective would have saved us our estrangement. It would have prevented it 100%, and it would have prevented so much resentment. It's so sad. Now that I know this, I just want to shout it from the rooftops, because it's so sad that we didn't know this. So if you're just listening, what I'm doing right now is I'm going to switch my screen. Sorry, guys. Keep forgetting here. I'm going to switch my screen so you can see my iPad. Okay. And I'm going to draw 2 columns. And on one side, I'm going to draw or write request. And on the other side, boundary. Make sure you can see it. Okay. So on the request side, I'm going to say, let's shrink this down just a little so you can see. There we go. Please don't call past 9 p.m. Super fair, right? And then a boundary would be, I won't pick up past 9 p.m. Do you see the difference? It's so slight, but this is a huge light bulb moment, and you need to see this. A request is different than a boundary. A request requires the other person's buy-in. It requires them to say, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to cooperate on this. I'm going to agree and respect this request. I'm going to come alongside you and do this with you. A boundary does not require anything from the other person. They can completely disrespect it. They can not agree with it. They can keep calling you. But a boundary is your action. It's a line that you mind yourself. That's why we call it mind your boundaries. It's something you mind. It's action you take to follow through. So even if they call, you just don't pick up. It seems so little, but I'm telling you, all the years leading up to the final point where it led to our estrangement was just paper cuts, because we thought we were setting boundaries. This is before we knew anything. We thought we were setting boundaries, but really we were just lobbing over hopeful requests. Please see us as parents. Please respect us that we're the parent or we're the authority role. And we were just waiting for them to see us as parents. And that day didn't come. And so every single time they didn't, and they kept doing what we asked them not to do, it would hurt us. And so the resentment was just so high, so thick, so heavy. That final straw that broke our camel's back, that's what led to the estrangement. None of that would have happened if we would have known every single thing we wanted as parents was something we had to take care of. It did not require my in-laws to change. This was our heir. It had nothing to do with my in-laws. And that's where, I'm not going to get emotional. That's where, like, my biggest regret is, because I have a thing because I was just terrible at school, like in my younger years before I got to college, I always want to know everything. And the fact that like this seems so simple, but it would have prevented everything and I wouldn't have hurt, especially my mother-in-law. Like I feel so bad. So please pay attention to that. So now let's get to the good part. I'm just going to pause this, get composure and switch screens. And we're going to start our framework when I get back. I told you, I'm just a freak. I'm just a baby. Sorry about that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and I'm going to walk you through the 5-step framework that I had to create myself because, like you just saw, I'm hypersensitive. But this is what I taught my client. We're going to call her Barb. And what the boundary I wanted her to set with her mom. This is our discussion. This is what it was all about. Barb's mom is a night owl. Something I will never understand because I'm like a 9 o'clock gal. Everyone I was at sleepovers, I would fall asleep until like at 9 o'clock. But her mom would call her like 10, 11, sometimes at 12 o'clock. And Barb couldn't not answer. She was always answering, even if she would tell her mom, like, hey, mom, I'm getting bad performance reviews. I'm not doing well at work, blah, blah, blah. Her mom would get silent, ghost her for days, and then come back as if Barb had never said a word. And it was really hard, really painful on Barb. And I was trying to tell her that she wasn't actually holding or setting a boundary. All she was doing was lobbing over a hopeful request, something that her mom, for whatever reason, couldn't respect. And so she had never actually set a boundary with her mom. So let me walk you through the formula. And if you want, if you haven't already, I've talked about this so much, you probably already have it. It's right here, actually. So it's the clear formula. Let me just pull it up on the screen so you can just see it. So we'll get rid of this. We'll come back here. So what I'm going to walk you through right now, I'm just going to find it here. I'm going to walk you through the framework. So connect, limit, explain, assure, repeat. These are the 5 steps, but really what we're going to be doing is right here. So all you have to think about whenever you hear me on like the reels or the shorts or whatever, my scripts are connection first, state the limit, and explain the benefit. So now I'm gonna walk you through how that looks, and I'll just kind of draw it out step by step so that we can go slower. But if you haven't already got this, if you haven't already got the book, I'm happy to send it to you. It's very helpful. I talk about why I had to create it, which I've already explained to you, and kind of where it came from. A lot of it came from just listening to my classes when I was going to school to be a therapist, just really trying to understand, like, here's the most confusing part. Like when I think about all the books that I've read and the scripts I've read online that were too harsh for me, I'm just like, why are they writing them this way? Like because really boundaries are only challenging with challenging people. They're really easy with healthy, mature individuals. It's really no big deal. Hey, like, I can't do that. And they're like, okay, cool. But it really becomes a problem with emotionally immature people because they feel like we're trying to push them away. They feel rejected. They feel abandoned. Our boundaries land differently with them. So why wouldn't we frame up the boundary differently using like attachment first? So I'm just going to explain to you. It just came like, it was like a no-brainer to me. I'm like, why wouldn't we do this? And maybe it's because we feel like we shouldn't have to put in this extra work, but relationships take work. Relationships take work. And I love it when I write these out or when I share these on video, like on a reel, and I will always get comments that say no is a complete sentence. And I'm like, yeah, no is like not about relationships. Like that's not relationship friendly. Okay, so if you have your notebook, we're going to write down is it called an acronym? I don't know. We're just writing down clear in a vertical way if you're just listening. So C stands for connect. And this is what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't you, if emotionally immature people, their biggest fear is that they're not good enough and that they're going to be rejected or abandoned, why wouldn't we start with connection-based language to make them feel held and safe to try to bypass their defense system, which I've described in several other videos. But just know that this defense system I'm in awe of it, because our defense system serves a purpose and theirs is top notch. It's so impressive. So what we're doing here is we're using attachment-based language so that they don't feel attacked. They don't feel like we're pushing them away, rejecting them. We're telling them that they're not good enough, so that they keep their defenses low, so they can actually hear what we're going to say. The next one is limit for L. This is your self-imposed limit. The next one is explain the benefit. This is their secret sauce, you guys. So I started thinking, okay, because before I read Dr. Lindsay Gibson's book, I used to think when clients would tell me stories, man, it sounds like their family member is like 12, like they're arguing or fighting or dealing with a 12-year-old. So I used to think that they were like a teenager or a preteen, but it turns out, like in Dr. Lindsay Gibson's book, she's thinking more like toddlers level skills. But even if you think about, if you're trying to get your 12-year-old to do something they don't want to do, how do you get them to do it? You frame it like, well, this is how it's going to benefit you. You make it about them, because a teenager's job and development, like their vernacular is completely pointed inwards. Like it's all about me. And it's the same way with emotionally immature people. It's all about me. So we explain our boundary and how this is going to benefit them. Do you feel better right now? Like that's how I was able to just be like, okay, I can do this. Like as a very sensitive person that always wants to keep the peace, I can do this. And this is why I made it this way. And then the last two parts are just really simple. It's this is when you're going to get some pushback, some questions, and that's just going to be assure and then repeat. Just really succinctly repeat your boundary. So, I just did all this without showing you the iPad. I'm so sorry. So I'm going to show you it now. Sorry, guys. So that's funny. Now that you get to briefly see it. So connect, limit, and explain. That's just really how you want to think about it, because that's the only things you really have to do, because assurance comes easy. So now we're going to write this out together. So we're going to connect using attachment-based start. And with this, you really want to think about your loved one. What's really important to them? Like, do they want to be relevant? Do they want to be helpful? Do they want to feel appreciated, love and belong? Really customize it based on the person. And then your limit is just your boundary, your self-imposed boundary, and then explain. And this is going to be how this benefits them. Now you can see this in action. So Barb, this is what I wanted, or what I had her say to her mom. Mom, I love our nightly chats. It makes me feel so close to you. But I've noticed when it goes too late, I'm tired at work. So going forward, I'm turning my phone on Do Not Disturb at 9 p.m. That way we still have plenty of time to talk, and I don't miss your stories. I love you, Mom. Okay, so can you see the difference in how these scripts feel? I mean, can you imagine yourself saying this and not feeling like the bad daughter, not feeling like the bad daughter-in-law, or just like a bad person? Because really, you are saying it in such a loving and compassionate way. And you're also making sure your loved one knows, I'm thinking about you. Like, this is how it's going to benefit you. So, Mom, I love our nightly chats. It makes me feel so close to you, but I've noticed when it goes too late, I'm tired at work. So that is, our connect. And then, all right, so our connect is going to be right here. Copy, paste. And then our limit is right here. Copy, paste. And then, so you can just screenshot this so you can make your own. And if you need more and you're also looking for how to heal without the apology that we just talked about earlier, there's 70 plus done for you scripts in that book as well. And paste. Okay. So now you can see, Mom, I love our nightly chats. It makes me feel so close to you. You know, going forward, I'm going to be turning my phone on Do Not Disturb. Explain the benefit to her. That way we still have plenty of time to talk and I don't miss your stories. So that is our example. So when this happened, let me switch my screen again so we can just be intimate again. Okay. So when this happened, Barb was on the phone, and for the first time, she communicated a limit and her mom didn't hang up. Like that's usually what happens. She will say something, her mom will go silent, and then the phone will just go dead. She didn't hang up at all. She just got quiet and they kept talking. Like she could tell like her mom was like, I don't really know how I feel about this. Like she was kind of confused because it came out so loving, but at the same time, I feel like you're pulling away or that you're telling me no on something. So Barb thought that was a huge win. She emailed me that night. She was so excited. And it was a huge win. But what Barb did next is everything. And if she would have skipped this step, she would have been like the 90% of people who skipped this step. And this is why your boundaries failed. This is why my boundaries failed for years. And so I will see you in the next video and we will walk through that together.